have MCTV on. So, can we call this meeting to order? Mic's on. Mic's on. So, council members, based upon what Council Member Lee said, I mean, we are part of the community tonight. Would we like to all go sit in the audience?
I'm sitting there.
All right, Council Member Lee, I think that's fine. Anybody else? Your choice.
You guys sit up here. I'll stay here.
You're good? Okay. If at any time anybody wants to sit in Councilmember Lee's space, raise your hand. Okay. So basically, of course, I want to thank everybody for being here. And it's been 2 weeks since the fire. I would like to say that we all have a lot of memories, specifically our own personal memories that we've experienced in that in that community center. And quite frankly, I mean, from my baby going to preschool to my mother taking a job because she wanted to, she just liked dropping her off and figured I'd like to work here kind of deal. But the one thing that we all have in common here sitting tonight is we all will not forget the day that it burnt down. And horrific, terrible. But with every tragedy comes a learning experience or an opportunity. And I'm not going to say it's a great opportunity to rebuild. That's something that is not a fair statement in whole. But yet it is an opportunity when you can see the council chambers filled with people who care and have a vision and want to make us whole again. So after our 40-year-old community center, here it is going to be in the near future. I don't know how long, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, whatever the case is, but it's going to be 1 year, and we're going to do it together. So why we're here tonight is we all got to give it some thought. We're all going to take the time, and we're going to look at what we all would like to see it look like in the near future. So with that being said, we have tonight some remembrance from MCTV. Is our video? Yeah, there you are. So Dana's here, and she's going to actually show us, like any other project, where we've been. We know where we are, and then we're going to finish out tonight where we want to be together. Thanks, Dana.
Well, first, Dana Sahai with MCTV. I just want to point out that we reached out to the Historical Society, and there are very few photos on record of the community center, mostly because I think people have their own personal memories of the community center, and those photos are at people's homes, in their photo albums. So we are collecting photos at MCTV. People can email them to photos@mctv.tv, or they can stop by our office. Photos@mctv.tv, or they can stop by the MCTV studio, which is at 450 Poplar, right next to the Jacuzzi room, and we can scan their images for them, because I know a lot of people don't have digital copies of their time at the community center. So with that said, I'll show you the few photos we were able to come up with, and hopefully everyone here can contribute to this effort. That's what we have. I have some flyers here for people in case they're interested in getting some more information.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so it's like anybody's photo album in their closet or wherever it is under their bed. We need those photos to, remember those moments. And I know that I haven't sent them in myself, and I know I have them. So that's a great reminder. And what you could do with that, I could only imagine the opening of the new facility and being able to watch this at great length. So thank you so much, MCTV. Thank you very much. So I want to give a little update with the community center with what's going on with the programs that were there. And of course, please be reminded that the web page has new locations for any new updates. But currently, the Brown Bag program has been relocated to the Constitution Square in front of our City Hall, and the seniors' monthly birthday luncheons are being held at the Magnolia of Millbrae. The summer youth programs and the activities have been relocated to the Carolyn Shea Center at Taylor Middlefield. The fall youth sports programs are operating normally, and programs registration begins today. The city staff is working with people who had previous reservations to hold private events at the community center. And many of our neighboring cities in our business communities have been very helpful and gracious to facilitate the displaced private events. So our goal for that is to find them new locations as soon as possible, and quite frankly, it's been fairly successful so far. So a lot of questions came from the park. Why is the whole park, been closed off? And we don't know when it's going to reopen. We're working with the insurance agencies and the adjusters to clean up and to mitigate any potential hazards in the area. So with that being said, before we move on, is there anybody specifically in the audience that wants to know about a program that we need to address? I think that we should really say thank you to staff for putting those into place like sooner than later, because amazingly, everything has come together. And it's not the same, no doubt. There's going to be quirks, but at this time, it's really in a good spot. Yes.
A little further on the park closure, we were informed that the smoke and the after effect from the fire may have made things unsafe. So we have to ensure that everything is clean and that we are not endangering anybody's health. But it is a top priority to get the park part open as soon as we can.
Yes. Do you want to come up to the mic? So,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's unknown at this point in time.
Push that microphone around.
Go ahead.
At this point, we're checking. Hi, I'm Marcia Reins, the city manager for Millbrae. At this point, we're checking. We're working with our insurance adjusters to determine, is the park safe? We don't have any information to share with you this evening. As soon as we do, we will share that information. Again, as soon as we get information, we'll be happy to share that.
So should we be worried about our houses and our yards since they're not fenced off?
Again, as soon as we have information we can share, we will. At this point, we don't have information to share. We're checking.
So what would the potential be?
I don't have that information. As soon as we have some information, we'll be happy to share with you.
So we merely put up the fence around it and we know why?
At this point, we've been
I get it, we don't have any answers.
If all of you guys have insurance on your house, you should probably call your insurance agent and say, hey, there was a potential, there was a fire, there might be a chance I have a claim, and go and get that checked out. You can have it tested. I'm a property manager in San Francisco. We do it all the time when we have fires. So I would call your insurance company, because they can always go and say, hey, let's go back to the city for this, or the city's insurance company, if you're that concerned, and have it checked, because the runoff is what you gotta worry about. things that were the water that was in there and what was in the water, so.
Thank you. Any other questions with regards to any of the programs that are going on? Okay, then, at this time, is Jim here? Jim Harnish?
Harnish, right here.
How are you? I would like you to come up, and we're going to talk about rebuilding. Now, let me just set the ground rules, so to speak, with what I would like to see come out of. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Schneider. Did I cut you off?
I was only going to mention that my house was downwind, so I will, as soon as I know and I get confirmed information, I'll put it on Nextdoor.
All right, I'm going to go back to Jim and Harnish, who is actually going to talk about plans for rebuilding our community center. And that is for tonight for discussion. There's not going to be any future decisions made for tonight. And we're just here to brainstorm and have some ideas from everybody. I hope everybody has big vision. And Jim, I hope you can handle the vision.
He definitely can, but let me explain why we've invited Jim. He can give us some information about his background as he's setting up. Jim is the head of the firm that the city has selected some months ago to assist us with visioning and general plan. So he's helping us, his firm is helping us update the general plan. They have done some stakeholder meetings, they have done some community meetings, and we're in the middle of that process to update our general plan. When this incident occurred, various of the council members suggested that this might be a continuation and piece of that puzzle. So we've invited Jim here tonight. He is well-versed at community meetings, at working communities through visioning in terms of what you might want, and that's the context with which he's been invited here this evening.
And if I may add, if you don't want to speak in public, there are cards that you may put your ideas down, and they will be also used as well.
If you put him here.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor, City Manager. Again, my name is Jim Harnish. I'm the owner of a consulting firm called Minter Harnish, which the city has retained to help the city and the community update the general plan. And we have a team of about 9 specialists working with us, economists, urban designers, transportation specialists, civil engineers. So we have a really big team. And I thought what I would do is give you a real brief overview of the general plan and why it's relevant to what we're talking about tonight. When the city first approached me about coming here, I thought, well, what's this have to do with the general plan anyway? We look out at the future, 25 or 30 years, look at big picture ideas. We rarely get involved with dealing with very specific projects like this, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that there is a really good intersection here between the challenges you and the rest of the community have to rebuilding the community center and the longer range vision and plans for growth and development in the community. So just let me talk for a couple of minutes about the general plan. I see some familiar faces here, so I know some of you have come to the study session that we had with the City Council and Planning Commission, and then our first workshop, which was to identify issues and expectations for future growth in the community. So some of this will be old news to you because we talked about the general plan, but just briefly, general plan is a long-range plan for growth and development for the city. Every city and county in California, according to state law, is required to have one of these plans and to periodically update the plans every 10 or 15 years. Millbrae's current general plan is about 20 years old, so it's time to update it. And it's not just updating it for statistics. It's, as you all know, if you think back about the mid-'90s, how much has changed in our world and in your community in the last 20 years. So all sorts of new ideas, new concepts, new challenges are reflected in the general plan update. 20 years ago, we didn't talk about climate change or sustainability or active transportation plans, but all of those things are a part of this update. A major element of the general plan update is community engagement. We spend a lot of time listening to the community so that the decisions that the Planning Commission and Council ultimately make reflect the broad vision and the expectations for the community. So we have a number of what we call outreach techniques that we've established for the general plan update. And this is one of the parallels with the community center rebuilding effort, because these are all designed to communicate back and forth between the city council, city staff, and the community about issues that are important to the community. So I just wanted to identify 2 or 3 things that we've done so far that are directly relevant and can help facilitate the rebuilding effort. First, we set up a website dedicated to the general plan update. We now have created a separate page just for the community center rebuilding effort. I'll write this down in later, but the website name is millbrae2040.com. If you go to it today, you will find no content about the community center. We've just set it up this week, but as the information emerges, as the discussion process goes along, that website will be populated with any information that's relevant to the community center rebuilding. So it's kind of a clearinghouse. It will serve as a clearinghouse for information. Secondly, we have an email mailing list that we've established. It's got close to 300 names now that we notify people whenever there's an event related to the general plan. There are sign-up sheets here. If you're not on that mailing list and want to get information about the community center rebuilding effort, then sign up. You'll get information about the general plan too, but that's probably important as well. So I urge you to sign up before you leave today. Third, and maybe most important, is we have a series of community workshops that we've had one I mentioned. We have others planned that can dovetail well with the community dialogue about the rebuilding effort for the community center. In particular, this fall we have a week-long planning and design charrette that's we're still formulating, and the dates aren't set yet. But the focus of that design charrette is downtown and El Camino Real Boulevard, because that's really over the next 20 years where the predominant change, if it does occur in the city, will occur. Your neighborhoods are pretty stable. We don't see much happening there. So the focus is on the downtown and the El Camino Real. But we've already begun to discuss the possibility of creating kind of a separate module, if you will, or separate effort in that planning and design charrette that would facilitate the community dialogue on the community center rebuilding. This is still kind of early in the planning works, but again, if you sign up, get our notifications, and you'll find out more about that later. And when we have a discussion in a few minutes, I'm gonna stop talking and start writing down your thoughts. But we're interested in getting your feedback on other ways of facilitating your involvement in the community center rebuilding effort, the decision-making process, and the design process. I think that kind of summarizes. I don't want to talk too long because it's really intended to get your thoughts. So any questions about that process? Yes, sir.
I'd like to know if this is going to be a complete tear down and rebuild, or are we using part of the frontage the way it is?
Well, that's a question I don't know, and that may be part of the decision process. Oh, I'm sorry. The question is it going to be a complete tear down and built on the same site, or something different? And I don't know if there's any.
As of today, that determination, we assume from looking at the building, the visual would tell you that the building is destroyed totally. Hopefully our insurance corporations will agree with that, but we have not heard officially from them at this point in time. So I would say tonight's session really needs to be about what the community can begin to talk about, of what a new community center would look like, and not worry about the existing site, not worry about the existing mess, the walls, whatever. Let's talk, if we can, take ourselves to what does the future community center for this community look like in your eyes, in your mind?
And before we take another question, is there anybody that has a seat next to them that they can raise their hand and let these people find a seat if you would like it?
I have one.
There's plenty of seats.
Two up here.
There's 2 seats right here.
Please come on up.
unless we spill out into the other room and then it's not.
Honestly, if you two here. Okay.
Good, thank you. Don, sit right here.
Yeah, hi, my name's William. I'm just curious, is the limitation on the budget for this new community center determined by your insurance company, or is it both insurance company and maybe some donations or some program to fundraise? What's the limitation? If somebody here has a vision for the new community center to be 3 stories high or maybe more than 1 story, what's the limitation? I think that's determined by the budget.
Actually, I think that's part of the discussion we need to begin this evening and have in the community. What is it this community would like to strive for? Rebuilding what we had, building something new, modern, and more updated, or somewhere in between?
Speak into the mic directly.
Hi, my name is John Muniz, and it's too bad the old one burned down. It was old. I'm sorry to hear that, but we have the opportunity to build a new community center here, the state-of-the-art community center, the envy of all the peninsula. Whatever it costs, the insurance company or whatever bond measure needs to be floated, let's do it. Let's get it done. Let's get a basketball court in there. There's no basketball court, okay? You took it right out of my mouth. I was going to say something. I mean, this pool thing has been going on for years and years and years, and everybody's been afraid. Oh, of course, a pool costs a lot of money. Yes, I know. You got to maintain it. You got to have lifeguards. But while we're doing it, let's get a pool in there. Millbrae's a great place for a pool. Our place in the sun. Let's do it.
I would. That's a great question. So, one of the things we do for planning, and Dennis knows, is that, when you brainstorm, that's the whole idea of this meeting is to brainstorm. And if you start throwing out ideas because you think you can't afford it or because you think it's, too wild, then you're really limiting yourself. So why not let's just throw the ideas out there, and then if it's a priority of the community, then it probably might be funded. But there is a finite number, of course, out there. But as a community, can't we go out there and raise the money for it? Yeah.
Yes.
Other comment, question? Oh, work my way back.
Hi, my name is Joe Teresi. One vision that I have for this is that we create some kind of a gathering spot, like a town square kind of a concept, and I'm thinking it might be a place where there's be like maybe a small stage and a screen and an area for flexible seating so that we could have outdoor activities or meetings or speeches or performances. And since it's so windy here, I was thinking it might be good to have it like in a courtyard area that's got some shelter, because when we try to have things in the park, oftentimes we get sort of blown away by the wind. Another thought I have is maybe having like a small cafe there to also encourage it to be a gathering spot. And then the last thought is I think it needs to be something sustainable. So there's a certification process called LEED. I think we should at least strive for a LEED silver certification for the new building. Platinum? Hey, why not? Okay.
LEED something. Great. So this is good. So you had a comment back.
Hello, my name's Dean Coit. We on the peninsula have lost 3 hockey rinks in the last couple of years, and I wouldn't mind seeing an ice rink put in this area. Now, I know this sounds a little wild and a little far out, but there's a committee in San Mateo that's already raised a number of $1 million to put in a rink. I think putting in a rink in this area would be beneficial, especially for the kids, because all of my kids skate. My youngest son plays hockey. My daughter's figure skate. It brings people into other cities. The only reason I leave this city is to go to work and to take my children to where they need to go for their activities, which is at that hockey rink. We've lost 3 different rinks in this area, as I've said before, and there's already funding to go ahead and build more rinks. We don't have the space. And the reason that these rinks have failed is because somebody else owns the land. They want to do other things with the land. One turned into condos, one turned into more retail. Otherwise, these made a lot of money, and I think it's a revenue source that we can tap into, something that has helped these other cities out significantly, and I think it's something that can help Millbrae out for years to come and give the kids something else, some other place to go, instead of hanging out at McDonald's and Walgreens where they all want to hang out right now.
I want to.
Can I ask you, was that an ice hockey rink?
Go for it, Gina.
Well, the rink is not only ice hockey.
Idea. You do it.
The rinks are not only for ice hockey, but they're also for figure skating, public events, etc. And they also have a big curling group in this area, which nobody knows about, that is also raising money for their own separate rink.
Future Olympians, right?
There you go. And just as an FYI along those lines, the mayor has a project in the works to bring us a temporary ice skating rink during the holidays. So we'll get to test that one out too.
I was just going to sit here and try to figure out what all you wanted for the community center, but we're really going far out. And I'm concerned about the tennis courts, so I'm putting in a plug for the tennis courts. We waited 15 years to get them resurfaced. We finally got the council to find the budget for it, and then they were going to do it, and then the building burned down, so I said, there go the tennis courts, because what's more important? The community center, because I see how well used it is, and I think it's an integral part of our community. So I'm all in favor of all these nice things that you're suggesting. I would also like to put my 2 cents in and say, could we fix the tennis courts, and could we have a good facility to play on? And the other thing is my dog park.
Marcia? Can we, Marcia?
Hold on 1 second.
Can we get a comment on the tennis courts?
Oh, I just had one quick comment.
Wait 1 minute, please.
Still testing us for the insurance.
Okay, well, that money is still in the budget
That
to
is in the
resurface
budget.
the tennis courts, so
You're not sure when the project is on hold, because you're not sure when the building's going to get built or when it's going to be safe.
Well-
They've already closed the courts down now.
yeah,
So,
just
yes,
to let you know, yes, the courts are closed. We did budget for it. We did go out to bid. The bid was far beyond what we had budgeted. So we are looking still along those lines. There's no intention of getting rid of them, let me tell you that. So
No intention of getting rid of tennis courts.
I know that.
Okay. And they need to be fixed even more now. Okay. And dog park on the list.
Quick
We have-
comment, just a follow-up to the ice rink, is that they can be a great moneymaker for our schools. We all remember the skate nights, and you had to go to an ice skating rink. Why not have Millbrae be the place that all the families go and raise money for our schools so they can have skate nights again?
And you are?
Lori Ann Richardson, Millbrae Chamber of Commerce.
We have one way in the back. Wait for the mic, please.
I'll walk fast. I'm not going to run.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Brown. I've lived on Hazel Avenue for over 30 years, and I could say my backyard is, hold it closer, I'm sorry. So the best part of living on Hazel with the tennis courts right behind our fence is, the best part is living by the park, and the worst part is living by the park. So it's just really kind of a mixed bag. So the first thing I would like to say, and I'm sure this would be number one on your list, is to make sure that the new facility and whatever's put there has state-of-the-art security. And that's fire, because the building went up very fast, and I had a report from a fireman how quickly that fire spread through the building without any, current code, even though I understand it wasn't necessary to have a building up to code that was built in the 1960s. But the fire spread very, very quickly. And also, there are a lot of neighbors who are very vigilant and watch for activity in the park that should not be there. For many years, I called our local police department, even after hours, to report kind of activities. But over 30 years, I've kind of, dropped the ball. I hear something going on, and oh yeah, I'm just not going to call. So I just think, some type of really state-of-the-art security for fire and activity in the park after the park is officially closed. And I would say that would be, 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night, the park should be closed, and there should be adequate security from the sheriff's department and whatever, mechanical, electronic type things. Again, love the tennis courts, even though, I have millions of balls in my yard every day. But my dog loves it, okay? To the dog park, I have that on my list, something that I would like to see. An archery range I would like to see, because there is like one archery range like in Pacifica. Grew up in San Bruno, where there are ping pong tables and pool tables for youth. And one thing I would love to see is a room with exercise equipment in it. San Bruno has a gym for their residents to use. So I'd like to see that. I would like to see a ceramics room, which San Bruno also has, where you can take classes. They have wheels and they have a kiln. So I think a pool is a great idea. We have a beautiful pool at Mills High School, and we have basketball courts at Taylor Middle School. So I'm not really sure what our partnership is with the school districts, but using the facilities that are there today is something that I can see happening. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we have to.
There's some seating over there.
One thing that I was reminded to mention to you, besides the general plan update project that we have going on, the city has initiated a Parks and Recreation Master Plan update as well. So that's just at the early stages. We'll be coordinating these two efforts, but this is yet another opportunity to get involved at that plan. While it's for citywide parks and recreation, this obviously is a central feature of that, your park system, and that. So I'm being told to hold the microphone close, and so you all have to listen to that instruction as well. So that's another opportunity that we'll include on the general plan website as well, so you'll be able to follow both of those studies and projects. So. Yes.
I'm Janet Fogarty, Hillcrest Boulevard. I'd like to suggest that we have a nice kitchen in the new facility, and that perhaps a kitchen that could be used for cooking classes, which are very popular, and also to be used, of course, for events in the facility. I'd also like to suggest, and I know you will do this, but that you make this accessible to people who are disabled, and make not just the kitchen accessible, but the whole facility. I'd also like to suggest that you work with some of our providers of service, like the sheriff's office, and see what opportunities there might be to coordinate and cooperate, and perhaps obtain cooperative funding through some of those services. And I'd also like to suggest that while you're looking at the general plan and our wish list, that these be included when you talk to developers who are coming to town, to include in the community benefits program that I know that the city's putting together. Thank you.
So Councilmember Pappen made a point that given the burglaries in the neighborhoods of Millbrae, San Bruno, Burlingame, San Mateo, please, you don't need to say where you live, that you're here at our meeting. We have one on the third. She's at her stand up. There you go. You'll get it. Thank you.
And pardon my handwriting.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Price, and I'm going to bring up the boring stuff. I think that we need in the new community center rooms that are flexible in the sense that they can be made to bigger rooms or smaller rooms that the walls can move. I know I've seen that at companies that I've worked at, and I thought it would be a great idea for the community center because, you know, of space issues. And then also, it would be great if we had a lot of light in the community center. Sometimes the old one would get a little bit dark. And I think that, and I wanted to say it would be great if we had a place where we had, you know, accessible computers for people, low-income people that may not have access to computers and the internet. I'd love to see that at the new community center. And a community garden, but that's kind of probably couldn't be part of the community center, but I want to get that out there.
Did you mean you have a preference to natural light or?
Yeah,
natural light, okay.
Hi, Dan Quigg. I agree with Mr. Munez. I think that we need a state-of-the-art community center, and I think the way that's going to happen is the city's got to look at some other projects in some other cities that have recently been built, because we're looking at a center that was developed in the 60s, and we're here many, many years later. And some of the suggestions that came up tonight with putting in a pool, putting in a skating rink, putting in a basketball court, those are all wonderful ideas, but those all add a lot of zeros to the project. And you know, the zeros to the project are fine, but the only way I can see this being funded is through a bond issue. Now, the library was funded through a bond issue, and we got a lot of community support because the community wanted a state-of-the-art library, and we have a state-of-the-art library, and it's a beautiful library, and everybody in the city appreciates it. The only way we're going to get a community center that's worthwhile is we're going to have to get a bond issue. So if we start thinking about the project and make it immense, and we want to add a pool, and we want to add a skating rink, and we want to add a basketball court, this is going to add a lot of zeros. So in order to get acceptability, I think we have to go out and do a survey and find out what the citizens are willing to support in a bond issue to support an immense project that is being dreamed at here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's still some seats back here if you don't want to stand up.
Yeah, and former Mayor Quigg, to let you know, too, and we appreciate everybody who's sending email requests in and all of that, too. We will be looking at Burlingame currently has plans to rebuild or build a new recreation center, and we have heard from, I think it was San Carlos. So, and if you have any other cities that have ones that you think are wonderful, please let us know there as well. This is a dream situation, so we're glad to hear from everybody.
Vision first and then mission.
I'm Perky Ramrath. I'd like to see the great room where exercise classes are led have a decent PA system so that our teachers don't have to play music on a little boom box.
Hi, I'm Kaisa Smith, and when my kids were younger, I'm glad to hear that the Rec and Park is looking at their plan as well. When my kids were younger, I was really challenged with what was available to them, so I went elsewhere. They're older now, but so what I would like to see with the new community center is perhaps something for teens, something where the teens want to go, want to gather, kind of keep them out of the Walgreens and the McDonald's and so forth, have it a safe place that they can go and gather as friends.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ray. I also sat in when San Bruno got the PG&E windfall, if you will. We did the same kind of thing. Not only adding zeros, but adding time to a lot of these things. So if you guys think this is going to go up real quick, I had a fire in December, okay, at a building. Simple fire. They just started the abatement. So that was simple. This is not simple. And the other thing we can't lose sight of is we have a footprint of what we got out there. So it's a finite size. So there's only so much that will fit inside that unless you go up. You know, become almost like San Francisco. Surrounded by water, we got to go up, we can't go out. So these things are awesome, but again, you said it best, you know, vision first, mission second. So, but it is adding time and zeros. Not being negative, just reality. So Think about it.
Does the city manager know, do we have any height restrictions? I would like us to see go up a bit on that.
And I have not checked what the height restrictions are in the government facilities zone, which is what this is designated. But keeping in mind, you do have residences around this on all sides. So,
Higher,
Just looking at the audience here, would anybody like to see maybe just a little bit taller building? Okay.
I think,
Right, just checking, this is the whole.
again, the height restrictions that are on the property can be amended.
and I think that could be part of the survey that Dan Quigg had suggested, a survey of some sort.
Hi, my name is Yu Zhang. Just a couple points. First one is, one of the best way to going back to normal is live normally. So that's why I suggest can we do like a phased approach? Like the first phase actually would be opening the park and people start using it. And then can we have a phased approach? We have some meeting room built first and close off the rest of the area for other buildings. This way, within a year, we have something going. Instead of waiting 2-3 years for this big, beautiful community center to be built. Just like, so we have something going and get going. And secondly, the parking is already an issue at the park. The more we bring in outside people, other cities to this city, this community center, I mean, the more difficult is to park. So, and every new parking space you build gonna eat into the land. So keep that in mind for building all these wonderful things. And lastly, I don't know what's the current status with the new development, but I wonder if we can get some fundings from the developer who's building that development.
Good ideas.
Yeah, I got parking down there. I'd like to clarify on the thought about this phased approach and doing a couple of buildings initially. Are you thinking temporary buildings, temporary space that would be removed, or just a phase of the permanent building?
Like a modular kind of thing. You build half of the courtyard, but it's already usable by people who wants to have gathering. Then you continue building out the rest.
Carol and Rob.
Hi, Carol Krasilnikoff. I'm chair of the Millbrae Preservation Commission. I would really like to see native landscaping put around the new community center. Not just drought tolerant, but I would like California native. And I really like the idea of a nice state-of-the-art kitchen, and maybe we can tie that into the community garden somehow. So.
Hi, good evening, Rob Ducote. I want to kind of jump on the comment from the gentleman earlier and also kind of ask this, part of that survey that goes out, ask for our opinion in terms of this phased approach as well and see what services we'd like to see returned while we go through this process. The loss of the community center hit us in a lot of ways, but we do have courts and pools and other things that we've been kind of living with, maybe not optimally, but we've been living with for a while now. In the meantime, there's stuff that should be returned and could be returned in a modular way. So maybe the survey that we're talking about would be also key. Will we pay for it, but what we'd like to see in the interim while we go out and find these best of breed practices that are around the peninsula and see what we can actually do.
Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Rosalind Wong, and I grew up in the city. Always went to the Park and Recs to play whatever sports available, and that always kept me and my friends out of trouble. We don't have anything like that existing in Millbrae right now. I have a child going to Spring Valley, and there's nothing available for her or her friends to do after school. So I would like to see, basketball courts, volleyball courts, ping pong tables, just sports so that kids can do something and be out of trouble, like that, something that I had growing up where it was safe. So lots of great suggestions by everybody. I would hope that you guys would consider building a facility where kids can actually go and hang out and play sports.
I think the Boys and Girls Club is still open. So if there are some children who, it's a great organization. So people who want to engage their kids and other great kids and in a mentoring and sponsored way, the Boys and Girls Club is a great asset. No, in Millbrae, it's in behind the school. Thanks to the school district who helped us and the Lions Club. There's a log cabin style building, and it's the Millbrae Community Youth Center in Taylor School, behind Taylor School, and the tennis courts. Yeah, it's for middle kids schools.
Hi, I'm Sammy Yim. I'm actually very happy to hear all these visions that we're going to have a state-of-the-art community center. But I'm like this gentleman. We need to look at both future community center, what that can be done for the community. But in the meantime, we got to have an interim plan at the site that can also continually serve the community, such as perhaps temporary modular construction so that we can still have some meeting area that the community can use. Perhaps in phases to open up the park, tennis court, so the community can use. So I think both long-term vision and interim use of the facility for the community is important to be considered. And of course, I mean, from reality standpoint, we got to understand what the insurance settlement will be, perhaps city bond merger, and perhaps with the insurance cover some sort of a loss of income or usage funding for the city. So those are things that we need to learn. Thank you.
Anybody else? Don't be shy.
I'm Peggy Murphy, a senior. I haven't heard anything mentioned about a senior center, and I think it would be nice to have it added to the regular community center so we could share facilities.
What would that entail? Peggy, can you give us some more details?
Yes, I'd like to see a center where we can have our monthly birthday meetings and share the kitchen facilities that the community center would have. Also to have sort of a meeting center where tables can be set up for bridge or other kinds of games. Maybe a television room with sofas and chairs. I think that would be nice. Just a nice gathering place.
Nobody said anything about a view. And I know Burlingame has had a lot of discussions about their new center having some sort of a view. Is that important? Outside. Yeah, outside view. So if you had a big meeting room we have a beautiful park. Maybe it would be more visible, be able to see the park more so. How? A second story would be helpful with that, yes, as well. People would be for that, or, that takes Jennifer's natural light into play.
I don't know if anybody would be against it.
Okay.
So actually, that's like a perfect segue, because my name is Lena Butte, and when we were talking about going up, I was thinking how lovely it would be to have a little rooftop area, similar to sort of what Starbucks has done back here at Safeway, because we do have a great view, and then it could serve as a space for the community to come together and have gatherings and fun evenings and adults-only kinds of things. So. So if we're kind of pie in the sky and we're considering going up, it would just be a nice addition, I think. So.
My name's Julie DeMaio, and I'm a teacher here at Lomita Park. And I'm going to embarrass my husband. He grew up going to the preschool there, and we sent our children there. And I think it's really important. I know that there were declining numbers, but if you build it, they will come if it's state-of-the-art and if it has the hours that parents need. Affordable, local childcare, there needs to be a space for that in the new building, too.
Don't be embarrassed. It was a great program. My daughter went there, too.
Did you get the childcare aspect? Jim?
No.
Okay.
Millbrae promoting more kids.
My name's Gina. I wanted to bring together some of the comments that I've been hearing tonight because I think they're all good. My vision would be similar to if my own house burned down, right? I have a limited budget, I have a limited thing I need to do, limited space to deal with. I'd want to bring back everything that I already had, but 1,000 times better. Take advantage of security, take advantage of state-of-the-art, take advantage of some of this modular that people were talking about, and flexibility, the open rooms, beauty, which plays into the natural light, and a place where they will come that people keep mentioning. And part of that, I don't know if we can go up too high because that's going to infringe on everybody else, but somebody said we could do something on a roof and just, you know, open it up a little bit to get more light like they have here, something higher, and then take maximum advantage of what we have, because we have fantastic resource view, beauty all around us. So we can take advantage of that, take advantage of state-of-the-art.
Anybody? Here we go.
My name is Jean Dapkus. I just have another suggestion. Since you're looking at all these wonderful things, you've only got so much space at the park, but we've got a whole bunch of other parks, and a lot of them are not used hardly at all. So since you're going to do a study of all these things that the community would like, why don't you just look at all the spaces? Because then even some of the spaces aren't very good for the parking and that kind of thing, but maybe you could look at what could we do. It would also limit the amount of people that you have trying to use just one space.
Jim, will that be part of the study that you do with the parks? Oh, but isn't that part of the plan? Wasn't that part of the general
park
plan?
master plan, you
Master
mean?
park? So that will be addressed.
Well, I think what Ms. Dapkus is suggesting too is that if we do some sort of a bond, we would need to find out from the community whether they would like to expand that to the other parks and making the city as a whole better.
I think that's a great idea.
Anybody else? It's a community meeting. There you go. Joe's going to take a second swipe at it.
Go for it, Joe.
Take a second dip here. First, I want to help out my friend Carol. You missed her thing. She said she wanted native landscaping, and you didn't capture that. So, yeah, she mentioned specifically native planting. Okay. I think it would be really important to coordinate closely with the school district to see if there are any overlapping or complementary uses or needs. I think I wouldn't want to see this done on the whole building, but maybe in some of the rooms inside to use like naming rights as a way to raise money, you know, maybe from corporate sponsors or even people
We're
who
open to anything.
Yeah. I think that you also need to do coordination with MCTV as to what kind of audiovisual capabilities you'd want to see in the building so that they could make maximum use of the building. And then all the tech stuff like free wireless and you know, real good audio visual that's built into the room, so you don't have to bring your own screen and projector and all that stuff. The ones that hang off the ceiling and those kinds of things would be great.
I guess we're on the second round now.
All the free tech stuff. That's what it's
Well, I forgot when I was telling my story about zeros. I think that the public should be aware of what some of these things cost. I think the Carolyn Shea Center, which is basically a big open building without a lot of divisions and a cafeteria, is about $6 or $7 million. So, you know, this is what you're kind of talking about for a basic kind of a structure. And if we're talking about a structure that's going to go beyond that and add pools and add a skating rink and add a basketball court, you can just see what I'm talking about with zeros. So, you know, I just kind of wanted to make a little footprint there of what it costs for a basic structure.
we'll definitely get into more financing later.
Yeah, Mr. Quigg, too, we have to point out the Shea Center has a spectacular kitchen and facility, which could be more utilized if they approved the use of alcohol. But that's up to the school district.
And also...
That might be part of the poll. Anybody interested in seeing that?
Well, I think everything mentioned will generate some income as well. So we have to get it built, but the sustainability may be a little bit easier than a building that only is for the schools there.
Hi, my name is Deanna, and I wanted to point out that there is ways to find funding. I know my daughter went to Menlo School, and Google and a lot of the high-tech companies came in and, oh God, I'm getting nervous, and came in and outfitted the facilities with state-of-the-art and gave big discounts because they wanted their programs in. So I think that there's ways to handle this. We talk a lot about money, but I think you have to kind of look at what the community needs, wants, and then figure out, take your priorities from there. The other thing I wanted to say was I would like to see more green in the building. Maybe incorporate more green effects in the sense of lighting so that you could sustain it, solar power, so that there would not be huge electricity bills, facility costs. That's about it.
Thank you.
Just go green, just right down. Yeah.
Hi, Lynn Ferrario. I just wanted to add to the daycare center that would also be an early childhood education facility for preschools. It's right up. Oh, you've got it. Great. And then just to piggyback on the fellow that initially mentioned about taking a project at a time. This is a brainstorm session, I'm hoping, and so we should be doing pie in the sky, absolutely. And then when we really get down to things, we will be prioritizing this, and the community will come together and prioritize those things. And so if we, in fact, think that a pool, which I totally agree, is something that we want, then we can go out to private investors as well and just fundraise for certain things. The MCYC was a perfect example of the community coming together and putting something together for our youth. So, we should be brainstorming, and then we need to prioritize after that.
Just real quick, Lenny Schwan. We're all adults in the room here. I don't see any children from schools, and I think it's important because so many children will be using the new center. As we survey the residents, somehow let's reach out to the children in the schools. I don't mean survey every child, but perhaps a school council or the class president. But I think we need to get their firsthand input in what they would love to see and what they would love to vision also.
I'd be happy to ask some fourth graders for you. Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Marcia Meyer. I've been a resident of Millbrae for 46 years. And I'm not sure exactly how your senior center here services compare to the senior center and San Bruno on Crystal Springs Road, but I occasionally go to a class there, and I've never seen such a vibrant community and vibe anywhere as to what happens there every day. They have a little, the seniors run a little cappuccino coffee area. They provide meals every day. They have entertainment going. Everybody's happy. They have a talent show twice a year. There's little classes going on where everybody pays. The seniors come in and pay maybe $3.50 to take a class. And I'd like us to see something like that we're noted for. Because a lot of my friends from all these areas, we go over there to participate in some of the activities because they're very young at heart and very encouraging. And I'd like to see something like that here.
Bart Spiescher. I am a resident here in Millbrae and a business owner. I'm an electrical contractor and also a Millbrae Lion and a future president of the Lions Club. I don't hear anybody speaking about keeping this work within the city and keeping it to people who really care about this city. As far as we have a lot of contractors in this city that we need to keep it here instead of farming it out to these guys who want to come in, do their work, and run out and just leave us high and dry. I think we need to really think about keeping this job within the city with people who really care about the city too.
Hi guys, my name is Monica Yao and I'm actually a rising senior at Mills High School. So basically on the day that I'm with my partner, Matthew, and basically on the day that the community center burned down, we actually just thought to reach out to the council members, and we really wanted to contribute everything that we can and to help this, and we want to fundraise at schools, and we would love to survey the students and just, we would love to just, help, do whatever we can to help.
That's so appreciated. Thank you.
So there's going to be a lot more community meetings, right? And charrettes, which is basically another community meeting. So we would love to ask the other, your friends and other people, leadership maybe, to come and because that's a great comment about the youth, because the youth use 50 to 60% of the center. So.
That's also a perfect segue to the Millbrae Community Foundation. The Millbrae Community Foundation is a nonprofit 501c3 here in Millbrae. It's all Millbrae residents on the board. We are all independent of the city. We have no paid staff, and we have set up a fund for the purpose of helping the city recover our park and rec programs in the community center. If you are interested, please go to millbraefoundation.org, and there's a place there where you can give a contribution if you like. So hopefully you'll feel that this is something that, as we did with the Millbrae Community Youth Center, that we can together generate the funds to make something really sweet happen here.
So Janet kind of took away my little thunder here. With regards to that, I want to say something about the Millbrae Educational Foundation, because Vice Mayor and I have a run on October 29th. I don't even know if I should. Yes, we do. We relocate that run, but initially that fun run was going to go to the Millbrae Educational Foundation. And we were very excited to be able to do that. And I received an email from, I see Lynn and I see Dennis in the audience here, but on behalf of the Millbrae Educational Foundation, they wanted to let us know that they would like this year's Chili Run to benefit the Millbrae Community Center rebuilding efforts rather than the Millbrae Educational Fund as previously planned.
So
I think that was amazing, and I thank you guys so very, very much, because charity starts at home, and we all want to give in every way of our community, but we need it. We really need it. So where's our Mills High School kids? There you are. We have a run October 29th. We need you guys to get everybody out there and run, and we can use your help organizing. And it's a step in the direction. We can use your surveys. We can use all the help we get, no doubt. But I would say that with Millbrae Educational Foundation coming forward and allowing us to put into the Millbrae Community Foundation, and if we have the help of Mills, the seniors, the teachers, the community, everybody, the chamber, we'll take everybody's help, and let's all run and get this started, at least off the ground. It's not going to take care of building it, no doubt, but it's a good beginning, October 29th. So thank you, Millbrae Educational Foundation.
I'd just like to add to this while we're talking about involving folks in the community, to remind you to either sign up here or sign up on the website to start build the information base and the group so we can get all of you to come to all of the events. And then in some cases where we have a volunteer to help survey, then we can work that into the outreach program that we're doing, add that to our effort.
Maybe a suggestion for our city manager, is there a way that we can provide some sort of outlet to take in more community comments that people aren't here on some sort of social media platform? So maybe we can work on that.
And a quick reminder that on September 6th, we're going to have the general plan community meeting, and this will be all part of this now going forward. Is that correct? Okay.
He says correct. Okay, let me see. Let me also make a remind you that the place to donate is at the millbraecommunityfoundation.org. So Bill hasn't spoken yet, so I'll let Bill.
So I just want to make a few comments here. First of all, I think it's great. This is a wonderful start.
And you are.
Talk about Bill Fogarty, Janet's husband. And everybody knows me. That's the way everybody knows me. What the heck? But anyway, I think it's a great start to hopefully a good rebuild. And I think it's wonderful that we're talking about what we want in terms of a state of art. There's people in this room that I used to play basketball with at the San Bruno Rec Center that we don't have anything in Millbrae right now that's available like that. There are people who want to do all the things with the pool. I think that's wonderful, and et cetera, all the other things that have been said. Ultimately, once we identify all the things we would like to have, we do have to think about economics, as Dan Quigg mentioned. And I think, the sources of the economics are obviously the insurance. If the kids' parents have any insurance that we're responsible or have assets, obviously they should be gone after. But also there are grants that are out there. Somebody mentioned Google. There are people on the peninsula who are very, very wealthy beyond Millbrae who have contributed to organizations. I think all you have to do is look at the Menlo Park Community Center, and there's one gentleman who paid for most of that. So he doesn't live in this community. I appreciate that, but he has done things. He doesn't live in Menlo Park either, I might add. So there are people on the peninsula that ought to be approached for either some or major parts of this process. There are also grants that can be applied for, and certainly I think the best example of how this community can rebuild a facility is what happened at the Millbrae Youth Community Center, where it took the Lions, the Rotarians, the Chinese Business Association, I think is the right Peninsula Chinese Business Association, the Millbrae Community Foundation, and the populace at large to get together and rebuild something that is actually a very beautiful facility at this point. So I would encourage everybody to participate in that way. And the last thing I would say is I see everybody who responds to different things in newspapers, next door, et cetera, there's a heck of a lot of negative comments. Everybody being negative isn't going to resolve anything. So you need to be positive.
And I just want to let you know that this gentleman here, Dennis Fama, is taking good notes, and if anybody has some ideas in fundraising, he has agreed to help us out the same way he did with the Millbrae Youth Center. Thank you, Dennis.
Just a question, really. Has anyone thought of having a booth at the Millbrae Art and Wine this year to collect donations for the new community center?
Millbrae.
Are you volunteering?
Give that to Janet. Wayne?
Oh, there you go, Debbie.
So I'm Debbie Van Boort, part of the Millbrae Community Foundation, and we will, the Millbrae Community Foundation is volunteering at one of the booths at the Art and Wine Festival, and we will be all decorated to promote our stars for the holiday, as well as promoting our efforts to collect donations to rebuild our community center.
Sorry, my other hat is Millbrae Education Foundation. I'm the teacher representative on the board. And so as much as we'd like to donate all of our fundraising, I just want to make sure that that says not fundraising, but the Chili Run fundraising, because we do still have our own needs. So make sure you amend that before it gets published, please.
We will amend it. Thank you for doing that, though. Thank you.
Hi, it's Kaisa Smith again. In regards to the youth, last term, my daughter was on the Youth Advisory Council, which I think is a great opportunity to learn leadership skills and so forth, working with city members. She had a great time. But I think that is a really good source to kind of tap into as we start to think about different ideas, as we start to get volunteers for the runs and the fundraising and so forth, because I think that group really is made up of a lot of kids in our community with really good ideas and skills. So.
I agree. Wayne?
Yeah, I'm traveling. I'm just hobbling over there.
Hobble.
I don't know if we're ready to start talking about next steps, but I don't know where the website is, where we might see some of this information and, you know, hear more about all of these ideas can be
cataloged.
Not just cataloged individually, but can be grouped together, you know, fundraising ideas, new ideas, old ideas. And I'd like to see that and like to kind of be able to see the progress and then be able to see the next meetings and all that kind of stuff.
So
Millbrae2040.com. Is that interactive or it's just?
This will go on with that. That website will also have all this information on it.
Okay.
So can I also plug in that there is on September 6th, I'll say it again, there's a joint meeting with the City Council and the Planning Commission. So anybody's asked to come to that as well. I don't know what time.
I'm not sure we've set the time. I think it will probably be 6:30, but we haven't set the time.
It may be earlier than that. So, yeah. So we'll have to get that from the website. I don't know the exact time. Marcia, do you know?
I don't.
No.
Well, we'll publicize it.
Do you know, Councilmember Schneider?
Could I make a comment on the interactive nature of the website? The website's not interactive, but we have, as a part of the general plan update, set up a town hall forum that is interactive. It's called mysidewalk.com. But we turn it on and off depending on what's going on with the general plan update. So it really is intended to provide an opportunity for folks who can't show up at the workshops to essentially provide the same kind of input we're looking for at the workshops. And so we haven't made any specific plans yet, but there's no doubt that at some point we'll use that tool as a way of gathering more input here as the discussion proceeds along. And then I'd just like to elaborate on the mayor's comment about the workshop on the 6th. The consultant team will be presenting the results of the general plan work so far. So we've done a couple of major efforts, which is an existing conditions report. It'll be posted on the website within the next 2 weeks. And we'll also present a summary of all the feedback from the community we've heard so far from the first study session with the Commission and Council to the workshop we had, and then we've had some stakeholder interviews and other outreach comments on the website. So this is all gathered into a report. So those two things will be presented, and then we'll be talking about the next steps in the general plan update project.
So September 6th, and it is at 6:30. It's been confirmed, 6:30, September 6th.
You briefly mentioned earlier a design charrette, a week-long design charrette. Could you tell us more about that, please?
Yeah, it's still in the planning stages, and we haven't picked a date. I suspect it will be October, November, something in that time frame. It will be downtown. Expect it to be downtown in probably a vacant storefront. We'll have our planning and design team there. There'll be a whole series of events in the day and the evening where it'll be an interactive process to get your feedback, have our planners and designers go away, take that feedback, come up with some ideas, present it, and so there'll be a back and forth over the 4 or 5 day period. Plan right now is to kind of take a look at the larger area, the downtown area in El Camino, as I said before. But I think we as this process is unfolding, it would make sense to see if we could kind of have a segment of that that really just focuses on the community center and gathering feedback on that. So this is a to be determined. You'll have to, we won't have the details of that worked out for probably until, I don't know, September or October.
Bob Garrison, do we have some idea of when we're going to have a figure from the insurance company? A month, 2 months, 3 months?
Figure for what?
Replacement cost for the building?
I know what we are, there's a figure for what we had insurance coverage on the building. And I believe you're asking what they feel the insurance company would be the replacement of that facility. We're still, as I said at the beginning of the meeting, and I don't believe you were here yet, we're beginning discussions with them. They've been on site several times. Anything from is the building a total loss or a partial loss is part of the discussion right now. I assume that's going to take some time. I mean,
We know, I'm just 6 months, a year, 4 months, do we know any about?
at this point, I don't have a timeline.
Thank you.
And again, as I said at the last gathering of the community, there are different facilities covered under different insurance policies. So in my mind, we're looking at the building, we're looking at the park. We also have an office facility up there for part of our staff, separate from the community center, parks facility, tennis courts, playground, different policies on different components of that. So we're assessing it all and working with them on all the pieces right now. I don't have a date, and I apologize for that. As soon as we do, we'll be back to the community to inform you when we have data.
Anybody else? We're all talked out? Oh, it's taking thirds now.
Joe, we'll let Joe go first. Let's finish up.
I was just going to say, I think a really good way to get the word out about what's going on is to put some signs on that fence around the park, because a lot of people walk up there and wonder what's going on. So I think it would be helpful to put like the Millbrae2040.com and the MillbraeFoundation.com fundraising website and other information, just make some signs and put them on that fence, because a lot of people are walking by kind of checking it out.
Great idea.
Putting it politely.
I also live right by the park, and people are not respecting it. They are finding gaps in the fencing and entering and racing their dogs around and things like that. So if there are potential hazards, you might want to post that as well. Maybe then they won't sneak through the fence.
And if you would call the police department when you do see people violating that fencing, would help us tremendously. Call it in.
While we're on the subject, I was going to ask earlier, but this is a good segue. And I've talked about some ways that we are already thinking about getting the word out and keeping folks informed and involved. The signs at the park is a great idea. Other thoughts about communication with you and your neighbors about this that we haven't covered already? Yep.
You know, it's really funny because this was on 2 weeks ago. This was the most important thing in the world. 2 weeks ago, this was the most important thing in the world. It is amazing how quickly we have been forgotten, and now it's just us in Millbrae, because it's not on the news anymore. The Twitter feeds are gone. So, you know, we've got to keep it going among ourselves, and you guys keeping us informed will get us motivated to, oh yeah, that's right, we got this, this, and this. So, but it is so yesterday's news to everyone but us. So if you want people to pay for new facilities and things, we got to let them know that we're desperate. Thank you.
I think it's what you're trying to say, not maybe so much desperate, because we're not desperate. But it takes a village, and what you're seeing here tonight is the village that wants to make it happen. And so just by word of mouth, we can be our own newscasters.
We need to be.
Yep.
So if my car got into an accident, I get the rental car for lots of use. I wonder if we can give some lots of use and, for example, lease out the Coles building to remodel it, to just temporarily make it a meeting gathering.
So we are, as city staff, exploring all of the above, and that is one one item on the list. We have not yet approached the property owners on that, but we, in terms of relocating all the existing classes, rentals, groups of people that gather, have compiled a list of everyone that's called in and offered. And someone's suggestion was that we approach the owner of that center to see if that would be a possibility. In locating those, it's been 2 short weeks. To some of you, that may seem longer than it does to me at this point in time, but that's a very good suggestion, and it is something that we need to consider. Yes, good idea. And if you have more ideas, call them into City Hall. We're taking all ideas and pursuing them as quickly as we possibly can. You guys are putting together, you residents are putting together some of the best ideas that city staff can't think of it all and do it all by ourselves. We're very much appreciating everybody, community-minded spirit about how to approach this. That's one of the reasons the council suggested we're here this evening. Good ideas.
Okay, what I would like to see, as someone having parents, the senior center part of the community center wasn't close to parking. So for some seniors, it was a long walk. So when the building is redesigned, that the senior center is, somebody already talked about ADAing it, but making sure that the seniors don't have to travel a far distance to get to the facilities. I would like to see a teen center there, and I think that reflects what a lot of people talked about, not just things for tweens, but teens on there. I love the idea of, I'm already at a second story, but if part of it had an upper balcony, that could be a lovely new feature that could be rentable. The Lions have already approached me about having a much better kitchen that they could actually cook at, not just warming oven. They also talked about, it was a fairly sterile building. It had a lot of cement around it. So if we were renting out one of the rooms, there wasn't an attractive area, a garden area per se, that you might want to have a wedding reception at. So there was discussion of where the barbecue used to be, where the pergola was. If that was upgraded and more attractive, we probably could rent the building out more, basically adding maybe not always California natives in there, but things that might look good in renting facility on that. In terms of the existing footprint, I would not support using the existing footprint. I'd like to see a new footprint and not have us be at all constrained by the shape of that building. Thank you.
There was a comment about where can you send, for people who are not here and people are here, where can you send your comments if you like? You can go to our website, which is a little onerous, but it's www.ci.millbrae.
Millbrae2040.com.
Or you can go to millbrae2040.com. But you can also email any of the council members. We will forward it. You can email the city manager or anybody on the staff, and that can be forwarded. So if you just go Google and say City of Millbrae, you'll find us. So.
Paul Harrell, final note, with that addition, as Ann has just mentioned, we also want to actually think about that parking. Maybe a 2-story parking garage that attaches to the new building. So easier access for the seniors to be able to get in, whatever floor, and also for meetings. So if that can be added, that'd be prime.
So are there any other comments from the crowd? Amazing ideas, amazing ideas. Great vision, super, super great. I was just going to see if any of the council members would like to have a final comment. Oh, we have a hand up. Did I miss one? Any more comments?
Back near, oh, that was another.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Wolin, and I'm here from the office of Supervisor Dave Pine, who is the supervisor for District 1, which includes Millbrae. And I'm really sorry the supervisor had thought he would be able to come to this meeting and was delayed at another meeting and won't make it. But I did just want to let you know I've been listening to everything that you've been saying. Great ideas coming out of here, and I want to offer our office to city staff and the city council, and we'll see if there's any way that the county or Supervisor Pine's office can assist in these efforts. I don't know what that looks like. I've just been listening and taking a lot of notes, but I wanted you to know we were here.
And well, while she's standing and on that, he was one of the first call-ins that we received offering any assistance this community needed, and we have to thank him for his support.
On a personal note, could you ask him if he'll run in our fun run on October 29th? Thank you.
Schools?
Schools. the schools were, I mean, I've said that 5 times tonight. The schools have been amazing. The city, and the schools are one of the greatest strengths of Millbrae. There's no doubt about it. But what they do for our children every day and watch them grow just goes far beyond anything I could describe. But what they did for us as a community on 2 weeks ago, I gotta say, at 6:45, the facility was not gonna be open. It was a given. And the schools were there, opened up the facility. We relocated over 200 children in a heartbeat. So you have no idea how those schools came together. Everybody came together, but I got to plug it one more time. Our schools and our school board, I see you guys out there, amazing. We have a very, very amazing group of school board members, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Hey, can you guys stand up? I don't want to be here.
Lynn,
Dennis,
Joe,
Ron.
Dandy.
I know that when I texted you guys were just right on it. So you guys were just awesome.
Don't forget Don Ravello.
I did mention Don.
He's already standing, though.
I'd like to make one comment before the council members have their final comments. Assuming my staff can read my handwriting and correct my misspellings, we'll summarize all of this input and put it on the website as soon as we can. I can't promise exact time, but probably within a week. So keep checking.
Thank you.
Ron Frediani, been in Millbrae since 1966 when I got married. Wayne, all this stuff that going on, and I have not heard anybody say that you guys need something now for the kids. As a Lion, I'm going to present my other hat. Is there something we can do to help you guys? That's all I'm going to ask.
Thank you, Lion Ron, for putting it out there. So we are, and Dennis is taking notes that we're all sorts of charity is whether it be sweat equity or monetary or any other donations are going to be welcome very much. And as soon as the school districts stepped up for immediate needs, and now we're just assessing our next needs. So I'm thinking. Yeah,
and it might be a little bit forward for me to say this, but I know the Lions are there because they've been there for everything, and I thank you guys for everything you do in the community. So if we do need help, we will ask. And thank you very much for bringing it to our attention, but we know you're there because you guys are awesome. Yep.
Anybody else? Raise your hands. No? Shy? So we're going to go to dinner then?
Well, I was going to let our vice mayor make a comment. He hasn't said anything, if you'd like, or good.
Well, thank you. First of all, I'm just thrilled to have all of you here tonight. I know this community center meant a lot to Millbrae. It meant a lot to me, and it means a lot to everybody. And, it was a tragic loss that we had, but we're all here. We're all ready to get going and rebuild it and come up with a building that we can all be proud and thrilled to have here in Millbrae. So, out of a tragedy, there can be triumph, and so let's go and do it here in Millbrae. We've had a ton of great comments here, lots of great ideas. I love the vision. We might not be able to have quite everything that was mentioned tonight, but we will try to do the best we can. There was a comment earlier that the city of Burlingame is looking at, they're currently in the planning their rec center. So I think we should begin the conversation with them right now in terms of what programs perhaps we can coordinate with them. There may be some rec programs that, for a city of our size may not quite be sustainable, but, between residents in Millbrae and in Burlingame, there may be enough interest to have a thriving program. Maybe some programs we could house there, some we could house here, but to work cooperatively with our neighbors, I think would benefit all of us. This is just the beginning. This is a long process, and we'll have more meetings. Hopefully, we may have some design ideas of modern community centers that have been built recently that we can look at and kind of pick different themes that we would like to see here. So stay tuned. This will be a long process, but all of the community input is going to be taken to heart, and you'll see it in the final product. So thank you.
So I think I'm going to sum it up, kind of close up the meeting. I'm going to say two things about where we've been. And one, we've all been somewhere that we weren't together with, and that means MCTV needs the memories so that we can enjoy that history of where we've been. But we've all been 2 weeks ago together, and we saw what happened. We're here today, tonight, but I can't wait. Whether it's going to be in 2 years or whether it's going to be in 3 years, it better not be longer than that. But where we're going to be, and I hope we're all together in a different room celebrating, and maybe with that, where's that adult stuff that we can do, yeah, whatever it is. So thank you guys. The comments were as valuable as it gets for those that live here. So thank you so much.
So you guys can go. I just want to plug in for home. Last, don't forget to donate. You can go to the Millbrae Community Foundation.org and donate that way by credit card or just click on there. And also want to thank Frank Barbaro, who couldn't be here, and Maggie Musa, part of the school board as well. So thank you very much for coming.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Can I see you too, Ruben?